products and eggs. Vitamin E, found in nuts, seeds, and leafy greens, protects your cells and tissues, and vitamin K is essential for your body's formation of blood clots and is mainly in plant-based foods like broccoli, asparagus, and dark berries. For more, visit us on Facebook or at familyhealthcheckup.org.
Your daughter doesn't want to talk about why her room is a horrible mess. Your son doesn't want to talk about why he's wearing mismatching socks. Your spouse doesn't want to talk about their bad haircut. Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk to plan for an emergency. Pack basic supplies in a go bag: water, canned food, flashlights, batteries, medical supplies, IDs, and some cash. Talk about where you'll meet in case you lose one another. And of course, don't forget to pack the dog treats. Talk to your family and make an emergency plan. Go to nyc.gov/readyny or call 311 to make your family's emergency plan. Brought to you by New York City Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
Imagine a world where no child goes to bed hungry.
We do, every day. It's a beautiful place.
But right now, families are struggling, and too many children don't have enough to eat.
So we're called to help them, to bring them food, resources, and hope.
To support families today so they can build a better tomorrow for their children.
To do this, we connect people. People like you, who can do so much for the most vulnerable children across this country and around the world.
If we work together and seize this moment, we won't have to just imagine that beautiful place.
We can create a world where no child goes to bed hungry.
Thank you!
FeedTheChildren.org.
The official radio station of Super Bowl 56.
Powered by Pepsi.
WGSX Nathan 104.3. ESPN Northwest Florida.
There's no need to fear.
The Underdogs are here. The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air. Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. Time to let the big dogs eat. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome into the Rib Crib Radio Room. Thank you guys for listening today. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. It's the weekend edition, the Friday edition. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick and AG Adam Goff in the building with us. And you can see the fire jersey my man's got on today. Number 9, Joe Burrow, the cigar aficionado.
Comeback player of the year.
Comeback player of the year. And, we're going to jump right into those NFL awards. What was noticeable to you about Joe Burrow winning comeback player of the year?
It was very nonchalant. I mean, he wasn't in the building there at the YouTube arena next to SoFi. But it was kind of interesting to see him with his teammates there at the hotel. And he just kind of walked up, said thanks to his doctors and therapists and his teammates, and left the trophy sitting there on the table and walked back to his seat next to Jamar Chase. So he was kind of like, yeah, and thanks for the trophy, but this isn't the one I'm after.
Bigger trophies to come. They had Coach O on the Dan Patrick show this morning, and he was asked by Dan Patrick, well, which recruit which recruit did you want more out of Jamar Chase or out of Joe Burrow? And he was like, man, that's a tough question. That's a tough question.
It's like picking between your kids.
In a sense it is, but he did answer. And he did say Joe Burrow, like Jamar Chase is a tremendous athlete, and he was committed to Florida, but he learned from Jimmy Johnson that you've got to have a quarterback who's strong and tough, and then also you got to have a defensive line. So it worked out pretty well for Coach O, him being a part of that 2003-2004 USC team as a coordinator. Mm-hmm. And then also, being the head coach of the LSU Tigers there in 2019. So let's take a look here at the NFL award winners for the year of 2021. We're on the radio at 104.3 FM, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and with our TV partner, Blab TV. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and download our new app and register. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The MVP of the year was Aaron Rodgers for back-to-back years. 2 out of 3 years here for Aaron Rodgers. Any complaints with this? Do you think it should have been Brady, Cooper Kupp, or are you okay with Aaron Rodgers getting it? I feel like either which way you go out of those 3 guys, you get a potentially great candidate. But I really do think, even though he got Offensive Player of the Year in Cooper Kupp, I think he was snubbed because he might have been the most valuable player in the league this year.
Okay, man, what do you think?
I agree with Dave. Cooper Kupp is who I was, last time we were talking about this on Wednesday, that was my pick. Like I said, if you can't win it on a year where basically you win the Triple Crown, then winning, do you really get a chance to win it? I mean, I understand that these other quarterbacks have, had great years as well, too. But quarterbacks usually routinely win because they get the ball, or handle the ball pretty much every play. It makes a lot of sense because of that. But I think Cooper Kupp got snubbed as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with Aaron Rodgers winning it because, I mean, he did have a heck of a season. They clinched the, number 1 spot really early, when most teams are still fighting for that. But, I mean, you look at the year Brady had at 44 years old, and I think, honestly, that age, I think it kind of hurt him a little bit in this. Because is it an advantage for people to say, or advantage for him for people to say, oh, well, he did this at 44, where he throws for 5,343 touchdowns? I mean, he had a career year.
The only thing that Aaron Rodgers really had better than him was possibly completion percentage, but the lack of interceptions. He had a way lower number at interceptions.
Right. Well, he threw the ball a lot less. He had less completions than Tom Brady did. But and he got the number 1, seed in the playoffs, which really didn't help them very much.
Well, it didn't. And if we were accounting for what happens in the postseason, then 2 awards definitely off rip change, right? MVP. Because Aaron Rodgers didn't even make it past the first round, and then absolutely Coach of the Year, and Mike Vrabel. Because if you account for what happened in the playoffs, even take the playoffs out of the situation, and there's a very strong argument for Zach Taylor. I told y'all yesterday, though, not you guys, you know what I'm saying, but on the show yesterday, I was saying, look, Zach Taylor has the resume to win this award, no doubt about it. Don't be surprised, though, if it is Mike Vrabel. But if you account for postseason, it's not even close. It's not even close at all because, honestly, forget the expectations of where the Bengals should have been in all of our minds. The season that they've had this year, I don't care if they were only expected to win over under 6.5 games or the fact that they had a great season bar none, and he did a hell of a job coaching those boys up this year. And then also something that kind of gets lost in the sauce for everyone except for Bengals fans, I'm sure. But they had the gall to go out and draft a kicker, and that move, you could make the argument for, obviously great play from Joe Burrow, but that move right there could be the reason that they've propelled to this point. He's made some big time money kicks this year.
Money Mac has been on the money, and we wouldn't be here in the Super Bowl without him, and so there's no doubt. But going back to the draft, everybody balked at the Bengals taking Jamar Chase at the beginning of the year, and here we are now.
That. Yeah.
So all I got to say is I enjoyed watching the honors, which I normally don't get to because my boys aren't in it very often. But they walked away with some hardware, and of course Burrow didn't because he just kind of left it there.
Yeah.
But you know what?
But he walked up to some hardware.
He did, absolutely.
And back to what Dave was saying about the coaches. I mean, Zach Wilson is, a candidate like you're saying. But how many times do we see these young, upstarts or, they could be an old upstart, I guess, of a coach or player or whoever, where you don't get it the first year where you actually have some success because you almost have to, pay your dues. They'll give it to you maybe the following year if you still have a pretty good season. Mm-hmm. But sometimes just not that first initial year because it's almost too recent in people's minds and maybe you haven't done enough long enough.
Yeah, but it's about 1 year.
I understand that, but it happens in other sports like baseball and everything, the way the voters work and everything. A lot of times you see a young up-and-coming player, having a great season, but somebody that's been around maybe a little bit longer, has got a little bit of time, actually gets that award instead of that person. And
No,
maybe they're not quite as deserving, but they have, like I said, a longer track record or a bigger sample size.
Yeah. Cooper Kupp winning the Offensive Player of the Year. If he didn't get MVP, he had to get that award, absolutely.
He had to get
100.
No doubt about that. Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt. I tried to make an argument for anyone other than, and there's just not. I mean, and especially when you bring up the point, I believe it was either Drew or Nick Gurley yesterday. He played 2 less games than most of what everybody else did, and he should have very well had the sack record set
no
by
doubt.
Michael Strahan
He
instead
got
of
screwed
Tatai.
out of that.
He absolutely did. Offensive Rookie of the Year, no problem here at all. Jamar Chase winning it. You could have made the case for Mac Jones maybe, but
Waddle.
Or Waddle.
Waddle with the
receptions record. But man, Jamar Chase, I think it really goes back to when the Patriots drafted Mac Jones. I mean, you had a lot of what do you really expect out of this guy? You know what I mean? But then you still had the year that he had prior, and so there was a lot of people high on him. When Jamar Chase was drafted, though, how dare you take that guy over an offensive lineman after the year that your quarterback had where he tears his ACL? And then preseason, having drops. And then the report comes out, oh, man, the issue with not having white stripes on the ball, which absolutely can be a factor, but the media blows it out of proportion.
Well, and he hadn't played in over a year because he sat out.
Right.
And then the opt-out for COVID. And so, honestly, I mean, the numbers that this guy did, and you could make the argument that coming into the season, looking at a depth chart on the Game of Madden or something, you wouldn't expect Jamar Chase to be the number one guy when you've got a guy like T. Higgins over there.
Right.
But
well, I mean, I hate to take it back always to fantasy, but
Yeah.
if you look at the rankings going into the draft, anybody's draft, T. Higgins was somewhere in that neighborhood of like 30s, like mid 30s. Jamar Chase was like 50 to 60 on some. So, I mean, like, it makes sense.
But
I was one who drafted T. Higgins over Jamar Chase.
But then again, they have that connection from back in school and stuff. And I mean, the reason why they got Chase, from what I've been told and what I've heard, is Joe Burrow had a lot of say in it.
Oh, yeah.
And they talked to him about it, and he, obviously, lobbied for his guy.
And do you think that teams should start?
I would.
If you want to keep your superstars happy,
You want to keep your superstars happy. Yeah, we're talking about young quarterbacks, and we go back to almost paying your dues, right? And back in the day, there's no way that a quarterback's going to get to come in his second year, first year, only played what? How many games did Joe play last year?
10.
6? Okay, oh, it was 10. All right. So 10 games, and then he gets to come in and determine not determine, but at least give his opinion.
His
He gets to buy or he gets to ask for some of the groceries that he's going to be using in the kitchen, if you will.
And I think that's a very smart approach because you've got some of them and you're like, nah, man.
I wouldn't be so worried about keeping the player happy as if, like they said, there is good chemistry there. You have seen the production there. Why not? It's already proven. Why take a chance on something that isn't proven when you can go with something that has already worked?
Are y'all kind of surprised that they didn't go MVP with Tom Brady, knowing that this could, at least he's retired?
I think if he got it, I think a lot of people would think it'd be almost like a lifetime achievement type of award, or like
right.
giving
I mean,
him
there's
something
still
for
plenty of time. But I mean, there's still plenty of time to go back and honor him.
Yeah.
2 years from now, 3 years, or 5 years
I mean,
after he gets in
the
the hall.
number will get retired,
Right.
and they'll
So
have ceremonies.
as long as they don't retire 12 on every team, I'm good.
I'm with you on
he's
that.
He's no Gretzky. That's
Right.
by far. He doesn't deserve what Gretzky got in the NHL.
There's just been so many good quarterbacks with the number 12 as well that would be almost impossible.
Well, and I hate to go back to it too, but you also have the not allegations. He got in trouble for cheating and stuff.
Will Tom Brady miss the Hall of Fame because of his allegations?
Nah.
Brought
Not
to
a
you by K-Man. No, I know. I'm just trying to get K-Man to to say that. So
I
we
mean,
can
if
rile
I was
him
a
up some
voter, I
more.
would not vote for him.
Yeah, of course you would.
But
Right.
I think a handful of people wouldn't either.
That's true. Defensive Rookie of the Year, another one that was cut and dry, right?
Unanimous. It was
Micah
unanimous.
Parsons.
They didn't have, last night they had zero. They had no other candidates even posted up. It was just like, hey, here's a video montage of his highlights. Let's just give it to him.
Right.
Such a beast, man. The trajectory for this kid is on fire. And the Cowboys desperately need – I know that you hate this, but they did, though, right? After going from Sean Lee and then Leighton Vander Esch was supposed to be kind of that guy and hasn't really worked out due to injuries. And so now you can have a guy like Micah Parsons, even though he's not necessarily that middle stud, is he? He ain't playing the middle as much, but they can move him over that way.
You can
put him wherever you want to.
You can put him at strong safety if you wanted to.
He's fast enough.
Yeah, I think he would.
What team again does he play for? So yeah, he could be a really great player. Doesn't mean they're going to utilize him the proper way or do the right things with him. So
Sean Payton will here in a couple of years.
Yeah, we'll see.
I only got a couple more minutes here in the first segment before we get into some commercial prop bets for Super Bowl 56. Let's talk about some players. Is there anyone who was snubbed off the Hall of Fame list?
Willie Anderson.
Willie Anderson.
Arguably one of the best right tackles of all time. His only issue is he played for the Bengals for so long. I mean, the guy was an absolute monster on the right side of the line.
So
I felt like that was, I mean, I know, I understand I'm biased, but if you look at what that dude was able to do on a football field, it was incredible.
Let's go through some of the guys, or real quick. Tony Baselli, Leroy Butler, Sam Mills, Richard Seymour, Bryant Young, Cliff Branch, Art McNally, and Dick Vermeil all inducted into the class of 22 Pro Football Hall of Fame, but some players who didn't make the 2022 Hall of Fame class. First, starting it off with, might have gotten the biggest outpour of not happy about it, but the kick returner, Devin Hester, right? Should have he been included here in the 2022 Hall of Fame?
People, I think, are just going to think he's a one-trick pony, and that's probably the reason why, because he really didn't succeed that great as a wide receiver when he did play the part.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what he's fighting against. I personally, for that position, yes, he should be in the Hall of Fame just for what he did. I mean, dare to kick to that guy, because if you do, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, and, people have balked at the idea of punters and kickers getting into the Hall of Fame.
Special teams in general.
Right, and they are a big part of the game. So I feel like he should get in. I mean, I like the fact the NFL has such a long what's the time frame for people to get voted in.
Yeah,
So I think eventually he'll get in there. But it just depends on what classes are coming in the next few years as well, too. So we got to think about that.
Yeah, you also think about the competition you're going against every year.
Right.
I don't know, man. He had a lot of touchdowns, though. Yeah, like in the return game. And so with him being a specialist, he might be the most special of all-time returner, but then
that's like a Mariano Rivera, in baseball. I mean,
Yeah.
he was a specialist. All the guy did was close, but when he got out there, you knew you were done.
All right, we'll keep the conversation rolling when we get back, though. Super Bowl 56 commercial prop bets, and you can listen to that game right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Coverage starting at 1 o'clock and the kickoff at 5:30. Listen live in ultra-high fidelity.
Weather forecast overnight, scattered clouds, 45 to 50 for the low, light south winds. A blend of sun and clouds in the mid-60s Saturday. It'll be breezy. There's a weather front coming in Saturday night with a few showers possible, mostly cloudy in the mid-40s. And it'll be breezy in the mid-50s, cooler Sunday, partly to mostly sunny skies expected. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Offord Tire and Service Center in Callaway. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Super Bowl 56.
The fairy tale continues.
Sunday, February 13th, we're bringing you the game live from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California.
Super Bowl 56 is sponsored locally by Diego's Burrito Factory, Bill Bird Kia, Best Way Portable Buildings, Mr. Transmission, Mid-South Lumber, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
At Slim Chickens, craft means something. Craft means bacon. And oh so crispy. Craft means a good cayenne kick and all-natural buttermilk marinated, made fresh, perfectly fried chicken, all served on toasted brioche buns. At Slim Chickens, craft means quality. And for a limited time, try our new Memphis-style barbecue chicken sandwich. Try Slim's Craft Sandwiches today. Slim Chickens.
Impact Promotions and Wicked Wheel presents Beat Down at the Beach 23, featuring a stacked-up lineup of MMA, boxing, and kickboxing matches. Impact Promotions brings the hard-hitting action to Edgewater Beach Resort, February 12th. Reserve your VIP table today. Call 850-691-9650. Don't miss the exciting fist-flying, high-kicking, no-holds-barred action as Warriors give it their all. Call 850-691-9650 for tickets. Sponsored by Parkway Tire and Flooring Solutions.
In 22, the thing to do is reboot the whole family at That Boot Store. With name brand Western wear for the smallest to the largest Wrangler is available at That Boot Store. Need durable name brand Carhartt work clothes at a price you can afford? Stop by That Boot Store. Next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street. Open Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. Remember Joe's motto, always keep Jesus in your new year.
The number one SEC call-in show is now twice as big. It's double the Paul Feinbaum Show. Weeknights starting at 6.
Okay, but also go faster.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Rib Crib Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back, and we have some great college basketball for you this weekend in Auburn. ESPN Game Day will be there. They're taking on Texas A&M. The coverage starts at 10:30, tip-off at 11 a.m. Super Bowl 56 is upon us, and we're going to get into some commercial prop bets. We have prop bets ready to go for you guys at 5:15 today, dealing with the game. These really just deal with the commercials. I like to have a side one here, especially for my Super Bowl party, right? Because if you got people there who aren't necessarily, came with someone else and aren't necessarily entertained by the game side of things, then they can play with the commercial prop bets, right? And then what does that do? It frees you up from having to watch all the commercials to keep track of the prop bets, because they no doubtedly will tune in for the commercials. Which crypto company commercial airs first out of Crypto.com and FTX? Crypto.com or FTX? Okay, man, which way are you going to roll with this one?
I'll go with Crypto here. They got Matt Damon is like their face right now, so they'll probably want to show his face as soon as they can on the camera, so I'll go with them.
I think I'm going to go with FTX. Definitely could change as as we get closer to the Super Bowl, but I'll go with FTX since the next question directly revolves around that one. Who will be shown during the FTX commercial? Will it be Steph Curry, Tom Brady, Giselle, or Shohei Ohtani? Adam, what you got on this one, AG?
Give me Steph Curry on this one.
Steph Curry. I think that was the way I was going to go, and then I was like, how funny would it be for it to be Giselle? Tom Brady makes the most sense, right? Because Super Bowl. So I'm going to go Shohei.
That's my pick as well. That's what I think, because I think he's the most unlikely, and so I would think that might be the way to go.
That will be the kicker. Oh, how about Michaela Schifrin last night finally getting going? I just saw it up on the TV, but she made it all the way down in the Super G.
Good
she
for
didn't
her.
win, but still.
Get over that hump.
Yeah, to get over those humps. She's got 2 more events, but I think that was so huge for her, and you saw it in her emotions. Lots more from the Olympics if we have time today. Which media company will be shown first? You got Meta, which is Facebook, Google, or Amazon Prime Video. Which media company will be shown first? I'll go with Jeff Bezos, Amazon Prime.
That's where I'm at too, because all those Thursday night games are going to go to Amazon only. So yeah, give me Amazon on that one.
I was going to go that route too. I don't really want to sweep it, but I think they got like pretty much the most money, so it makes the most amount of sense.
I think it could be the first commercial we see.
It very well could be. I think Meta has a lot of ground to cover up with whatever's going on with Zuckerberg and all of the changes that they continuously make. So this next commercial is a Michelob Ultra commercial, and Peyton Manning is going to be in it. Bowling. So we've got a couple of questions, and it's basically inspired by the Big Lebowski commercial. So what will be said first in this Michelob Ultra commercial? Will it be dude or Jesus? Dude or Jesus?
Well, Jesus is played by John Turturro in The Big Lebowski, so I don't think it's going to be him. I think it's going to be the dude abides.
All right. So you're going with dude.
I'm gonna go with Jesus with Totoro because the dude always his beverage of choice is the White Russian. So why is he gonna have a beer? You know.
I'll go with Jesus. Let's go. Will Peyton Manning bowl a strike in Michelob Ultra commercial? Adam, start us off here.
I do. I think he does, and I think he follows it up with an Omaha.
Ooh, I like that. What do you got, K-Man?
No, I think he's gonna get like 8 pins. So I finish with like the 8-10, and then somehow in the commercial he'll end it with like the 8-10 split, and he'll convert it, and that's how it'll end.
You mean the 7-10 split, the corners?
Yeah, or 7-10
Yeah,
split.
gotcha.
Sorry.
I'm gonna say no for the fact of I think I would rather see the strike with the Omaha. That would be awesome. But the Mannings incorporate comedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it could very well be a gutter ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say no.
What if Cooper or Eli somehow mess it up for him?
Ooh, that could. There's so many ways that these commercials
Right.
could go, man.
As long as he's not throwing bowling balls like he was at those kids on SNL with those footballs. Did y'all see that when he was on SNL?
Oh, back in the day, yeah.
And he was just beaning these kids with the
sir.
footballs.
Like dodgeball with football.
Yeah, dodgeball with football. Who will be seen first in that Michelob Ultra commercial? Out of these three choices, you've got John Goodman, John Turturro, or Jeff Bridges. Caveman.
Give me the dude.
Jeff Bridges.
That's Jeff Bridges, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to go John Goodman.
And I'll just keep it different from everybody, and we'll go with John Turturro. Number of athletes that will be featured in Super Bowl 56 commercials. So this is throughout the night. You got to be watching. But it's...
What was it? Was it 50 where they had like 800 NFL players in that one commercial? Was it Super Bowl 50?
I would imagine so, because they did a lot for Super Bowl 50.
So I was like, that's a lot to live up to there.
Well, the number is over or under 7.5, which I think myself, I'm like, that's a pretty low number for athletes when we're talking about a Super Bowl.
I'm wondering how they're categorizing that question. I'm taking the over just because, like you're saying, 7.5 seems kind of like light, but I guess it depends on how they're defining.
I think it's just
looking at it.
MLB, like a known athlete.
But when they're saying like featured, like how do you have to be like the commercial's all about you? Or,
no,
like,
featured is like just your face could go across.
Yeah, like
the
instead like a cameo or something. Like Adam was saying, you could have like in one commercial, you could have 24 people just in one commercial alone.
Yeah.
And if it's the real athletes, then you could absolutely blow that 7.5 number out of the water.
Yeah.
So you're going over, I'm going over, you're sweeping over.
No, I'm going to go under.
Ooh.
I think they're going to try to trick us on this one. Yeah. Although I will like to say, I would really, really like to see maybe one of those like old John Madden Miller Lite commercials or something like that to just kind of like sneak that one in there just as a tribute. I thought that would be cool.
Do you guys still get, like, I don't want to say excited because I can't say I've ever been excited. What is your expectation for Super Bowl commercials? Like, have they tampered off because there's not much, like, what else can you do?
I'm there for the game. I could care less about
right,
the commercials.
no, I get that. But I'm saying, like, your expectations for the commercials, right? Because it's always like the commercials are, like, they're going to be more grandiose than normal. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think that in recent years, the full lineup of them have. You know what I mean?
Well, this is because the same thing.
Because I think what Adam said, like, the internet's kind of ruined it.
I just think in Hollywood and, like, stuff in general, everything, it's hard to come up with new ideas. Everything's been done to so extent. That's why they're remaking movies that they had out 30 years ago. They can't come up with something new. So it's just a retread of something else because a new generation hasn't seen this or maybe can't remember it, so we're just going to throw it back out there. I mean, they're doing it with cars now, too. And plus the nostalgia, maybe I couldn't have bought this car back when I was 18 or 20, but now that I'm 45 and having a midlife crisis, I'm going to buy it now because they just, redid it and put it out again.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with also the fact that, like, I'm of the generation where, Michael Jackson put his new music videos in the middle of the Super Bowl. Like every year, it was like, okay, let's anticipate this. And so then you had Pepsi and you had all these other big names that were attaching themselves not just to the game, but also somebody that was like such a generational talent and it made it this big spectacle. And like, so we don't have that. And then you have the internet where we see all these commercials before the Super Bowl even airs sometimes. So it just kind of changes things. Same thing is like if you go to a movie theater and you go to watch a movie, you used to get excited for what trailers am I going to see.
Yeah.
And now you see them all.
You've already seen all of the trailers.
So now you're like,
oh,
man.
Yeah.
Now I'm only getting here early because unless it's assigned seating, I can get my seat early.
And I think there's like a lot of white noise, if you will. It's just too much. Like you were saying, like back then you had like one guy to focus on, Michael Jackson, one sponsor with like Pepsi. Now they want to throw like 8 people out there performing along with like half a dozen sponsors, and it's just like overkill.
All right, we're about to have Sarah Spain on the line with us, so let's finish these 3 up real quick. First device shown in Squarespace commercial. I'm going to go with a tablet.
I'll go with phone.
Laptop.
Desktop, carrying
Yeah, I
it
was
around
like,
with me. How many commercials show a dog over or under 6.5, Caveman?
Over.
Easy money, over every single year. What will be shown first in any commercial? A rocket, a moon, an astronaut, or an alien? I'll go with the moon.
I want
Dogecoin.
Alien. Let's go aliens.
I was going to go moon as well. Yeah,
All right.
I think it's going to be moon.
We'll tie it up right there. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs here on what time do we got?
We still got about 10 seconds.
All right, 10 seconds here. Let's tell you guys about Super Bowl 56, where you can listen to that right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to have great coverage starting at 1 p.m. on Sunday, and then the kickoff will be at 5:30. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Quick timeout, right back with Sarah Spain.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
You never say never.
I guess when you hear Tom say never, then you're like, okay, so you're saying there's a chance. I'm guessing that in the back of his mind, or when we get to July and August, when your body tells you, hey, get ready for football, then he's probably going to have those thoughts. But Tom's going to come to the rescue again? I don't see that.
The Dan Patrick Show.
9 to 11 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Coram Steak and Egg, home of the world-famous Heavenly Hash, has been family-owned and operated since 1986. Open daily 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Coram Steak and Egg prides itself in offering fresh, never-frozen favorites at family-friendly prices. Come in and check out our daily lunch and dinner specials. Coram Steak and Egg at 804 South Tyndall Parkway, where you never leave hungry. Also available on DoorDash and Grubhub.
Hi, this is Coach James Hale, here to tell you about the best car wash on the beach. Blue Sky Express Car Wash. Number one, they're locally owned. You know Matt and his employees will do a great job. Number two, Blue Sky Car Wash recycles their water. Number three, they have the latest technology available. It does an incredible job on your vehicle. Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Back Beach Road is right near Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hill sent you.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida are proud members of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We'd like to welcome the newest members to the Beach Chamber.
Service First Bank, TDJ Contractors, Keller Williams Success Realty, AtYourServicePCB.com, and Nail Garden.
Congratulations from the area's only sports radio station, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Are you concerned about safety when you travel? Emerald Coast Amsel specializes in self-protection. They offer a full line of safety products like men's and women's RFID wallets and concealed carry for purses, lifetime incidental replacement plan, and manufacturer's warranty on most items. Give the gift of self-protection and contact Michelle and Rick today, 850-358-2810, or visit their website at emeraldcoastdamsel.com. Emerald Coast Damsel, independent damsel pro for damsel in defense.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're riding shotgun with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to need some gas money. The Afternoon Underdogs.
Fill her up, please.
At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
I don't need a whole lot of money, but I do want a good Super Bowl for this Sunday, and that's going to be starting 1 o'clock right here on our air. We've got the Super Bowl preview, Super Bowl Insider, and then Super Sunday, all brought to you by Westwood One, and then we'll be getting you out to the kickoff. Kevin Harlan calling the game.
Is there anybody better on that?
I don't think so, man. There was somebody, I was talking with somebody, maybe it was on the show that we were talking about commentate. Was it Wednesday? Maybe we were talking about favorite and least favorite commentators.
Oh, yeah, you guys were mentioning like Gus Johnson.
Yeah, but Kevin Harlan, man, that dude, some people thinks he's just, how do you stay at that level for so long? You know what I'm saying? Just like the excitability. But it's like, dude, him and Gus Johnson are two of my favorites because it can be a boring play. It could be a streaker headed onto the field, but he's going to nail the presentation and paint that picture in your head.
Yeah, Kevin has a nice way of blending in the subdued kind of Kevin with the excited Kevin. So when he's excited, you know it's something intense and something great that's going to happen. And the way he's able to, utilize his vocabulary to describe things, particularly on the radio, is absolutely phenomenal.
No doubt about what you got.
I was just going to mention just back when you guys were talking about it, didn't really get into NHL a whole lot, but I just missed the pairing of Gary Thorne and Bill Clement when ESPN used to do National Hockey Night, like back in the 90s and stuff like that. And those two guys were really good. And then, of course, now Doc Emmerich's not around calling games anymore either, Mike Emmerich, so he's really good too.
Yeah, man, for sure. Have you got to see any of the ESPN presentation or the TNT presentation? And if so, which one have you liked better to this point in the season?
It's kind of tough. I would say probably TNT, based off the fact that Gretzky is involved with that. So I like to hear, what he's got to say a lot of times. I like to see his perspective and, because he's just so great and he's been such an important part of the game, an ambassador for the game and such. So, I like that. ESPN, I feel they're doing NHL a little bit of an injustice. They used to have shows like NHL Tonight and whatnot, and they just don't give it enough coverage. All the games are like on the plus.
All right, let's get to our big guest. We've got Sarah Spain. Welcome her into the Rib Crib Radio Room, host of the Spain and Fish Show. That's what she said with Sarah Spain, and you can see her all across ESPN. Also, owner of the Chicago Red Stars of the National Women's Soccer League. Sarah, how's it going today?
I'm good. I wish I could say I was busy with one of those jobs, and that's why I'm late, but I just was sitting here waiting for you to call and then realized I was supposed to call you.
You don't give me it's not me, it's you. I invented it's not me, it's you.
It was me.
Thanks so much for joining us. Give me a storyline that you can't wait to watch in the Super Bowl.
Oh, so one of the biggest ones for me is obviously the offensive line and protection for Joe Burrow. I think we're all loving the narrative of, we got sacked 9 times in the Titans game and they still won, but it's not really that simple to still get a W when your QB's been taken out. So I don't want a repeat of last year's Super Bowl where we just saw Mahomes on the run all game long and they weren't able to set anything up. I don't think that's going to be the case, but obviously protection for Burrow is number one for me. And then the other one is whether they decide that they want Jalen Ramsey to just chase around Jamar Chase, because they've really only had that one wide receiver go route deep threat guy so far that they've covered in this offseason. That was Mike Evans. So looking back at how they covered him, do they want to do that again? If they do that, how do they feel about taking Jalen Ramsey out of the box for all the run sets? And obviously that's not the Bengals' strength, but you can still kind of take Jalen out if he follows Chase around. So how did they decide to do that? That's, I think, going to be huge too.
All right, yeah, great stuff. Great to talk to you today, Sarah. Caveman Rick right now.
Thanks.
Big fan of Around the Horn. I go back OG all the way back when Kellerman and guys like Simers and
right.
Wojciechowski were on there. But anyway, speaking of the Super Bowl, I wanted to talk about a Super Bowl that you had something to do with, Super Bowl 41, where you had a bit of a story. Maybe you can elaborate, where you got down there with some friends, weren't able to go to the game, but you actually found a way to get tickets and actually attend the game. Could you tell us about that?
Oh, my gosh, it's such a long story, so I'll try to tell it very quickly. I was working at Fox Sports 1. I was talking to my coworker, and the Bears looked like they were, clearly going to make the Super Bowl. I was with my friends, and we were like, all right, we're all going. So I buy a plane ticket, and then I start looking at tickets. And I'm a poor 20-something who has never attempted to go to a Super Bowl, and I'm like, $5,000? I thought it'd be like $500, and that was still way too much for me, right? Like I had no clue, no concept. So then I'm talking to my friends, and they're like, oh, we changed our minds. I think we didn't know how much it was. We're going to stay home. So now I've got this. This was like pre-easy to cancel flights. I've got a flight. I'm staying with a friend of mine from college who lives 2 hours outside of Miami. I'm like, this is not going as I had planned. And my colleague I was talking to was like, I told him about Screech from Saved by the Bell, who put something up on the website to save his house. And he had people all send him like $5 to save his foreclosure. And I was like, I couldn't do it because like nobody knows me or cares. I don't have like search engine optimization for a website so people would see if I was like, hey, everybody give me $1 so the super fan could go to the game. It was like a very far-fetched, weird thing. And my colleague was like, you should go on eBay and like do something. And I was like, I've never even been on there, but okay. So I put a picture of me that I had dressed my tiny little 5-foot blonde best friend dressed as a football player for Halloween, and I was a cheerleader because I'm tall, 6 foot. So it was like a funny balance. And so I made this Bears cheerleading outfit, and I posted a photo in that, and I said, take me as a date to the Super Bowl. And then all the details, they said this is not an actual date. There's no like buy date. There's no price. And then I went to bed and sent an email to a bunch of radio stations. Look at this crazy girl. Like, you should get a company to sponsor her trip. Like, try to do the viral thing before being viral really existed.
Right.
I got over 500 emails in the first day, and eventually Axe Body Spray's PR company gave me tickets for me and 2 girlfriends and a guy that we had a contest, and we got to pick who we wanted to bring with us, airfare, tickets, and we had a blast other than the fact that Rex Grossman was our quarterback.
That's awesome.
Gross
story.
Rexman, nice.
Great story.
It has gotten turned very salacious over the years, and people try to like hold it up to me and like make it a bad thing. I'm like, it was super creative.
I'd be
There's
proud.
nothing bad about it. Like
Not at all.
And then we had thousands of guys enter themselves to come in the exact same way. It was just like a diehard fan that couldn't afford to go and ended up having an absolute blast. And we did get to see Devin Hester return the opening touchdown, so it was worth it just for that.
I think GoFundMe needs to give you some credit.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right?
Hey, Sarah. Hey, Sarah, it's Adam Goff here. So I just had a question for you. We know that you're the owner of the Chicago Red Stars. I just had, you kind of cover all sports, so I figured this would be relevant. If you could own one sports franchise, in any sport, and you could pick one player to start your franchise right now, who would that player be and why?
Ooh, that's such a good one. First of all, I am one of many owners of the Red Stars. I would love to take sole credit, but there's like 32 of us. I don't have that kind of coin yet. I'm working on it. I guess I would have to say I would want to be the owner of the Chicago Bears because it's been so long since they won it all. I was going to say Cubs because I think it's time to replace them, but they won at least recently within my lifetime when I was old enough to like enjoy it and be on for the ride, whereas I was too young for the Bears Super Bowl. So I've been hearing about it my whole life without ever really enjoying it. So I think it's time to move on from the McCaskey family. So I think that would be it. And I don't want to undersell my guy Justin Fields. I have very high hopes for him, but he's by no means a proven commodity at this point. So would I want to instead have maybe a Josh Allen or a Joe Burrow or a Patrick Mahomes? I mean, that's pretty tempting to own your team and start with a caliber quarterback like that.
Well, yeah, and you go from a matriarch to a matriarch.
Exactly. It just feels right. Let's get him on the ringer.
There you go.
Let's do it.
Interested in selling for a very low price.
So I wanted to ask you, Sarah, you grew up in Illinois like you were just alluding to, but you were born in Cleveland. Do you have any love for the Browns, or is it the Bears only? And which team are you kind of pulling for more here in the Super Bowl?
So Cleveland is a nice place to go see family, and I don't want to hurt any feelings, but thank God my family got out of there before I had any allegiances to Cleveland teams. I mean, I got to move to Chicago and be there for the 90s Bulls. I got to have, like, the best youth experience when it comes to sports, totally spoiled with the greatest athlete of all time right in front of me instead of the Browns. So, no, I have no allegiance to any of the Cleveland teams. Thankfully, surprisingly, my parents aren't super into sports, so they didn't, raise me with any allegiances to Cleveland. So I like the Bengals, though. Really easy team to root for when you got a team that's been so long, like just a fan base that's so hungry for it.
You're speaking to one right now in Adam Goff. I've been a diehard Bengals fan since I was about 7 years old, and
so pumped. you.
Yeah, thank you.
Just thanks for all the honesty. I mean, just all great answers. This is great.
Yeah, for sure.
Sarah, what's your favorite prop bet that you've ran across?
One of the ones that I saw, so there's always like the fun ones, like the national anthem length, which I always think is silly because, you know, a lot of people know that. They've been rehearsing it. So one of the ones that I saw that Bill Barnwell has a great podcast, and he was breaking down with Sean Walters the other day, like some of the ones that they found the statistical gap between the odds that you're getting and what the odds are of it actually happening. And so I think I'm going to put some money on the first play not being a first down. Ooh. Based on the numbers that Bill ran, the likelihood of it not being, especially if the Bengals get the ball, since we know they usually run early, I think that's a good one. Also, I think the surprising prop bet of Chase under 79.5 receiving yards, because you expect him to go off, but if you actually go by like the median, he is significantly lower than that on average. So that, of course, is going to matter so much on how they decide to cover him and whether they decide to just take him away and see if they can beat him with everybody else. But I like that one, too.
Awesome.
You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're talking with Sarah Spain right now, and she is one of 32 owners of the Chicago Red Stars in the NWSL. But as an owner, Sarah, what plans do you guys have for growing the sport of soccer in the United States? And I just want to let you guys know, if you're looking for talent, y'all should send some scouts down here. We have some amazing young ladies here in our Arnold and Mosley high schools.
I mean, I bet Florida is usually a good spot for youth talent because you get to practice year-round in that beautiful weather. You know, I think one of the biggest things for me is taking a look at some of the successes in women's sports, and a lot of those are big swings and risk takers. I think what we do too often in women's sports is just kind of toe the line, and we don't treat it like a startup, which is the only way to build something new. And we kind of hover around in terms of investment opportunity, in terms of social issues, everything else. And you look across the league like the WNBA that in recent years has taken massive leaps and bounds because they've been more open about the true, authentic nature of who they were, who their players are. They've spent on great marketing campaigns. So I think the NWSL needs to kind of follow their lead.
Awesome. Well, we just kind of had an idea here while we were talking before the show. You know, so you can enjoy this beautiful Florida weather. Why don't you look at trying to get one down here in Northwest Florida and become a partial owner there?
Sure, they're looking. I don't know if I could own two teams. There's probably a conflict.
Yeah, I would imagine
point
so.
Fixing, but
all right, Sarah, who do you have winning the game?
I've got the Bengals. It's one of those where I don't want to get got like last year, where everybody was so high on Chiefs. It was like we weren't even talking about how the Bucs might pull it off. And I really think that Matt Stafford has not actually been significantly better in recent weeks, despite that narrative. He's just been really lucky. Every pass that he's thrown directly into the hands of a defender has been dropped, and those interceptions go the other way. And we're talking about completely different games here. So I think they still do run the risk of Stafford's inconsistencies. He's obviously got a hell of an army, obviously can be great, but he's also a guy that can be easily tricked and makes mistakes. And that Bengals defense has been so flexible, depending on who they're playing, that I think they can give him some looks that will result in some of those picks. And if they make good on them, I think they've got a real shot.
Thank you for that. You just made my day.
All right. And Sarah, real quick, if I can ask, are you cool with Aaron Rodgers getting MVP, or do you have anybody else in mind?
I mean, I think he probably deserved it by his play. He certainly created a whole mess of issues for himself with all sorts of other stuff. But if you're just looking at on the field, I think it's a tough one to argue.
All right, right on. Thanks a lot.
Hey, Sarah, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to talk with us. That was a very fun interview, and just congratulations on everything that you've done, and keep on doing a fantastic job.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me. Good luck to your Bengals.
Thanks again.
Absolutely. That was Sarah Spain. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, it'll be time to defend your stance.
Well, Weather forecast overnight, scattered clouds, 45 to 50 for the low, light south winds. A blend of sun and clouds in the mid-60s Saturday. It'll be breezy. There's a weather front coming in Saturday night with a few showers possible, mostly cloudy in the mid-40s. And it'll be breezy in the mid-50s, cooler Sunday, partly to mostly sunny skies expected. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show, weekday mornings 7 till 9 on your station for the best local sports talk.
In the SEC, it used to be Kentucky. It packs out. It was loud as crazy. People are now coming to watch games because Auburn's there.
Auburn is drawing some huge crowds.
It's tough to go on the road in basketball. I think it's the toughest sport to go into somebody else's home area and get a win.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Impact Promotions in Wicked Wheel presents Beat Down at the Beach 23, featuring a stacked-up lineup of MMA boxing and kickboxing matches. Impact Promotions brings the hard-hitting action to Edgewater Beach Resort, February 12th. Reserve your VIP table today. Call 850-691-9650. You don't want to miss this action-packed night. Call 850-691-9650 for tickets. Sponsored by Advantage Refrigeration and Air Conditioning, your local independent American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
Do you have a home that you don't want anymore? We can buy it from you within 24 hours. Any home, size, or condition. For over 20 years, we've been buying homes for cash and helping homeowners sell their homes immediately with no listings or strangers walking through your home. Are you moving? Did you lose your job? Going through a divorce? Whatever the reason, if you're in a bind and you know that you need to sell your house fast, call the expert team at I Need to Sell My House Fast. We'll make you a serious cash offer to buy your home in 24 hours and let you walk away from it. No listing, no waiting. Sell any home, any size, any condition, now. Call the expert team at I Need to Sell My House Fast. Make this free call now.
800-407-6742. 800-407-6742. 800-407-6742. Again, that's 800-407-6742.
Damsel in Defense presents Defend Your Stance. Got an opinion? Time to defend it. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
I don't want to work, but when you're doing this, it's not really work. You know what I'm saying? That was a fun, very fun interview. Very grateful to
down
be
to
able
earth. I don't want to bang on the drums all day. I want to talk to Sarah Spain all day.
Dude, I'm telling you, that was a lot of fun. And could you imagine if we, really had 30 minutes with her? So we asked, 2 or 3 questions pertaining to the Super Bowl, and there was so much more. We could have, she's so easy to rap with, dude.
Right, imagine just sitting down having a beer with her, how great that would be.
Man, that would be a great time. I've never tuned into the That's What She Said podcast, but I think that I've got to start doing that because her and Spain and Fitz her and Fitz do a great job on Spain and Fitz, but That's What She Said. That makes me want to check it out, and really
everybody else should too.
Yeah, everybody should. You definitely got to check her out. And you bringing up the Around the Horn. You can see her just about every day.
Yes, on ESPN, somewhere on ESPN, exactly. on one of the platforms somewhere, you can probably find her.
Oh, hamburgers creeping back up on me. Defend Your Stance, brought to you by Emerald Coast Damsel Independent Damsel Pro 4 Damsel in Defense. This weekend we're in
Columbus, Georgia.
Let me hear that tagline one time.
Yo, I pity the fool who don't use our tool.
All right, Adam, cue me up one time. It is time for the Grand Slam of Cash. We're going to give you a code word here in a second, and that code word is SALE, S-A-L-E. Sale, like it's on sale, S-A-L-E. Take that code word, head on over to ESPNPC.com/contest or over to the 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app and check it out. Code word or enter the code word there. Code word is sale, S-A-L-E. And do me a favor, get over there and do this for us here on the Afternoon Underdogs. We're in a mini competition with the Coach James Hale Show, seeing how many people we can get to put that code word in. Costs you nothing, and it gives you a chance to win $1,000 in cash. If the Bengals win, will this be the greatest Super Bowl victory ever out of this will be 56 Super Bowl victors? Let's start with Caveman Rick. I'll go next, and we'll end off with AG.
No, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, you could say they're maybe a Cinderella team, but in all honesty, no, because I mean they've been kind of on the up and up lately. So overall, I probably wouldn't say that. If I had to pick one off the top of my head, it'd be kind of tough too. That was going to be better than that. But I mean, with 55 other choices, and the game hasn't already been played yet, too, I just can't say that yet.
I mean, I'm just now getting to the point where I've been alive for more Super Bowls than I wasn't around for, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of them that I just don't have any recollection of. But if Joe Burrow goes down 26 points and comes back, then yeah, it will absolutely be the Super Bowl.
So you think the game storyline, the game within itself, is going to dictate that answer?
It could. It very well could be. I think that it's going to be one of the most impressive to go from year, especially if you go year 1, 2, and 3. This is Zach's third year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you take in all 3 years and what he's had to go through, there's no doubt that you can make a case for this. You know what I mean? But with recency bias and that 25-point comeback, 28-3 against the Falcons, that old school loves so much, I just think that one's going to be so hard to top.
I look at it, and I posed this question earlier today.
Right.
And, I look at it, and obviously I have some biased, but you look at what the Bengals had done the prior 2 years, right? 2 wins, 4 wins. Joe Burrow goes down, not expected to do anything, picked, I think 4th in the division this year in the AFC North, and they're going up against the prohibitive favorite for the Super Bowl preseason with the Rams, with everything they've added. And that was before Odell Beckham and Von Miller, right? And then, not to mention, they were playing the game in LA's house. So I just look at it from another road game, essentially, on the playoffs in the Super Bowl, Cinderella team versus prohibitive favorite. It's kind of hard to say it couldn't be one of the greatest Super Bowl victories ever.
Fair enough. Like I said, we'll have to see how the game's played. The game obviously hasn't even been played yet. I don't want to jinx it, but if it ends up being a dud, then obviously this question's a moot point.
Well, that's why. But we don't have time to ask this question on Monday, right? Because it's over then. Like, once we're done this weekend, we are back into a depression state. You know what I'm saying?
No
we
baseball
talk about it. Yeah.
right now.
Well, not only that, but like football, after football's done, it's just like, dang. You know what I'm saying?
What do I do with Sundays?
Well, what do you do with Sundays? And like all the other sports, they make do for sure, but it's just like, what are you waiting on? You know what I'm saying? You're waiting on August for preseason to start and to gear up for football, fantasy football, and all that stuff. And then once September hits, it's on. You know what I'm saying? So
football lives by what they tell you in show business, and what they start in show business and what they want you to do is leave people wanting more. And that's what the NFL does, is at the end of the season, it leaves you wanting more. So you're craving for that, and that's what keeps people interested, I think. And if it was just oversaturation, then, you'd probably have people losing interest.
That's a good point. Who's the next Bengals in the NFL? Who is that next team that goes from what y'all go? 2
wins to 4 wins to 10 and
2, 4, 10. Y'all skip 6 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive, man. And then not only that, though, like to win the North, and I get there, it was a down year for the Steelers in a sense because of Big Ben, and Lamar got hurt. But give credit where it's due, right? Like they won the North when they were expected to have 6.5 wins. 6.5 wins was the marker there, and they won the North. And not just that, though. They play in the wild card round. They beat a hot team in the Raiders who had to play a hell of a game to take down the Chargers in Week 18.
Right.
One of the best games. If it wasn't for that Chiefs and for that Bills game in the AFC divisional round, that Raiders Chargers game might be the best game of the entire year, right?
True.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So,
for me, I would think maybe the Giants. You get new coaching staff in there, new general manager. I really don't think Daniel Jones is going to be there, so you'll have a new quarterback as well. NFC East is still pretty weak, so you don't have to do a whole lot to win the division. More than likely, So yeah, give me the New York Giants as my pick.
I like the Giants in that one just because there's so many question marks in terms of like new personnel. But for me, give me the Lions, right? The Lions, I know historically, and this is what we're talking about, right? I mean, historically, the Bengals were in this situation. But you look at what the Lions were able to do this past season. They were in almost every game. Their defense plays hard. Jared Goff has been to a Super Bowl before. Put the right pieces around. I think they got the right coach. So, I think the Lions could possibly be the next Bengals.
Yeah, they can make it all the way to the Super Bowl and score another 3 points. No, that's a Jared Goff joke.
Right.
Man, you know what? I'm going to go with a former Philly guy and a guy who I really didn't have much faith in, and I know he threw 17 interceptions this year, but Trevor Lawrence, right? There were signs this year of, oh, man, this guy could be really good. And maybe if Urban Meyer hadn't been the head coach this year and he had a competent head coach that was willing to really kind of
be the head coach.
Well, not just that, but grow the quarterback instead of worried about just like winning and your reputation, and you didn't do either one of those things correctly. So what gives you the idea that you could take Trevor Lawrence and help him blossom? But I think with Doug Peterson, we saw what he did with Carson Wentz until the injuries started taking over. We saw that he could take a backup and win a Super Bowl with them. He can build a team up. Why couldn't it be the Jaguars? It's a long road, but within 3, I like those chances a little bit.
That
before
division's
Detroit's.
a little tougher though, with the Titans and the Colts
right.
there.
But the Jaguars all seem to find themselves in those winning positions every now and again, like with David Gerard. Who would have thought of that? Blake Bortles. Come on, like the fact that Tom Brady didn't win that Super Bowl. What year was that? Was that 2018? Right, the Eagles won.
Yeah.
Right, you have Kirk
They shouldn't
Cousins.
have been in that game. They should have lost to the Jaguars in the AFC Championship game.
There's that fact as well. But your final 4 quarterbacks were Tom Brady, Blake Bortles. Was
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles and Kirk Cousins, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, because we beat the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
and Tom Brady still didn't win the Super Bowl.
right. Still can't beat Nick Foles.
If Nick Saban was at Vanderbilt for 20 years, and I'm not talking 20 years from 70 and on, I'm saying like say that he went to Vanderbilt instead of Alabama
For 20 years. Yeah, he could.
Would
do
have he won a national championship?
I believe he would probably, because if he's that great of a coach, you have that long enough time to build a reputation, to build a brand, if you will, to go from winning maybe just a couple games a year to 4 to 6, like we're saying 8. I would say then yeah, definitely so.
I have a hard time with that just because Vandy is a highly prestigious academic school. The entrance exams and things like that are a little bit tougher. So, same thing with Notre Dame had with Brian Kelly. There's a reason he left There's a reason Brian Kelly left Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
It's tougher to get into.
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
So I feel like that would play a factor, but I don't think he would win a national there.
I don't think that he would even compete for an SEC championship. Could he? Absolutely. But the thing is, even his first year at Alabama, he was 7-6, right? And then he started getting some of those recruits. But how much easier is it to be like, hey, I want to turn Alabama back into a national powerhouse, or saying I want to be Houdini and turn Vandy into a national championship
as
one
good
time.
as-
We got to go to a break real quick. We'll be right back with our 5 at 5 top 5 Super Bowls. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. We'll be right back.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for college basketball.
Ball game, Auburn wins it.
This Saturday, it's a college basketball doubleheader. First, Texas A&M visits Auburn inside the jungle.
Oh my goodness, what a finish.
Coverage starts at 2. Then, it's Ohio State at Michigan. College basketball lives here. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hello, Rick Vossen with Stormore Portable Buildings, located at Panama City Mall on Highway 231 side. If you're shopping for a portable building, whether it be a portable building for storage, whether it be for office space, a garage, or a cabin out on the lake, Stormore's got pretty much anything you could use. From an 8 to 16 foot wide, from 12 feet long to 60 feet long. That's Starmore Portable Buildings, Panama City Mall, Highway 231.
Here at Panama City Toyota, we love things that last. Of course, it starts with beautiful, reliable Toyota cars and trucks. It continues with every customer relationship, across generations and hundreds of thousands of miles. And now, we're proud to offer something you can count on year after year after year. A free lifetime warranty that covers your drivetrain and powertrain. If you shop with us, we'll be here for you. Because peace of mind should last throughout your entire journey.
Dr. Chad Mitchell, orthopedic surgeon, specializing in sports medicine and joint replacement of the knee, shoulder, and hip. He serves our local athletes and our community. Southern Orthopedic Specialist has been the leader in orthopedic care for over 20 years. New patients are welcome. Call 850-769-KNEE to schedule an appointment. More about Dr. Mitchell and Southern Orthopedic Specialist is available on their website, southernorthopedic.com. Southern Orthopedic, getting you back in the game.
The official radio station of Super Bowl 56. Powered by Pepsi. WGSX Nathan 104.3. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Offer Tire and Service Center on Tyndall Parkway in Callaway is your authorized Goodyear and Michelin dealer.
Did you know that brake fluid absorbs moisture over time? Moisture contamination can lower your fluid's boiling point, leading to overheating and poor braking performance. Offered Tire and Service Center. We recommend having your brake fluid flushed every 2 years.
Offer Tire and Service Center on Tyndall Parkway in Callaway. Locally owned for the past 35 years and worth the drive from anywhere.
When you want a big-time sports show, tune in for the Afternoon Underdogs.
I'm going to send you up against the best.
Weekdays from 4 till 6.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room.
The need for speed.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Daytona 500, man, getting it started. First points race of the season. We did have the Busch Light Clash at the LA Memorial Coliseum. What'd you think of that
Super Bowl
race?
racing. I think it was pretty good, actually. I actually watched a lot of it during the day, like the qualifying heats and all
I
that
did
kind
too,
of
bro.
stuff. And
I was more tuned into that than I was even the Pro Bowl and other things going on.
because, I mean, it was actually something kind of real. It's different. I thought doing it at the Coliseum was a great idea because it was such a small track.
Dude,
you
that
know,
small track,
and a
like the
cool building.
Well, I
and
think
just
anytime
everything.
you get these, sports out of their element. Like, remember when they were doing college basketball games on, like, Navy warships?
Yeah, or
and,
like the outside hockey games,
Right,
like in the football
right.
stadiums and stuff, like the Winter Classic and whatnot, and baseball
I'm
stadiums.
so ticked,
That's
man.
awesome.
I was supposed to be going to that one this
Oh,
year,
man.
February
Right.
22nd. It was going to be the Nashville Predators and the Tampa. It is the Nashville Predators and the Tampa Bay Lightning, but sometimes money don't grow on trees, and
Right.
those tickets are they a little bit expensive. But I just thought that would be so cool. Go watch my favorite hockey team in my favorite NFL football team stadium.
Mhm.
And those chances don't happen very often.
And you know
Stars
what's neat?
aligned, but
Yeah.
unfortunately not well enough, right?
About the racing, the other thing that was kind of cool, I was
Go
thinking,
fund me. I can hit a Sarah Spain.
Yeah,
real
no
There
quick.
you
doubt.
go. Anybody want to take Dave?
earlier in the day, because they had those smaller heats and it was smaller distances, there was no pitting and stuff either. So like it was constant flow of the traffic and the cars, if you will, instead of like people getting in and out and whatnot.
Which pitting, I really found last year. I'm kind of on this journey of watching NASCAR, kind of like I am in the Olympics, and starting to understand more how things work. But with NASCAR, one thing I really learned how important that pitting process is, because Kyle Larson literally won the NASCAR championship last year because of how great his pit crew was. So I think he was like on third or fourth place whenever they hit the pit, and then left like tenths of a second ahead of somebody else. And next thing you know, great driver, yes, but a great team. You never really realize how much of a team sport NASCAR is. Anyways, all of that to say that the Daytona 500 will be on our air February 20th, and that is going to be a great time. Let's get into our top 5 favorite Super Bowls, but real quick, David's dog of the day led you wrong last night with Coastal Carolina, but we'll try to even it up over the week here. Denver Nuggets are getting +6 on the road, taking on the Boston Celtics, and according to Covers.com, About 56% of people are putting their money on the Nuggets. So my dog of the day is the Nuggets with 6 points. Boston Tim would not like that. Number one, do y'all want to start with your fifth favorite Super Bowl or your first favorite Super Bowl?
I think we probably better work our way up, wouldn't it be?
Work our way up. I'll start. I can't believe I'm doing this, but 1 yard short, the Rams and the Titans Super Bowl. Not only because it was really one of the first Super Bowls that I like have a literal memory of. I was about 8 years old at the time. I'm sure, like, I know how the Super Bowl went at our house, so I know I was in front of the TV for other ones, but that's the one that I really remember. And even in a loss, it was a fantastic game, right? Greatest show on turf, and then kind of an unexpected Titans team there with Steve McNair and Eddie George, and the Rams get the best of them, 23-16.
For me, it's kind of I think it was Super Bowl 30, the 49ers and the Chargers. I was senior in high school, watching the game with some friends. I know this is a little off point because it's not football related, but that was the year Beavis and Butthead was really big back then. And they actually,
hey, but those are like in psychology, you learn that those are like the connectors,
those correlations.
Yeah, and they did a halftime show where it wasn't on the network, obviously, that the Super Bowl was on, but you had to turn it on MTV to watch that during like the 30 minutes that the halftime show was going on, and they had a special, and it was kind of neat as well. You know, it fit in during the time. So for me, that'd be my number 5.
For me, it was, sorry to say this, but Rick, it was the Pats over the Eagles in Super Bowl 39. Deion Branch went to the University of Louisville, got the Super Bowl MVP. I remember watching it at my cousin's house, so that was a lot of fun.
All right, for number 4, Super Bowl 37, Bucks and the Raiders. Not a great Super Bowl game, but I was living in Tampa at the time, and the city was just absolute. Well, we were living in St. Petersburg, Florida, but still just
Same
right
difference.
across the bridge.
Right. Minneapolis, St. Paul, whatever.
And the city was wild. And then also since then, you know, we've had Brad Johnson on the show and stuff, so I'm a big supporter of Big Bad Brad, his trick shots, and his kids, even though they're at a rival school.
Heck yeah, right on. My next one would be, I think it's Super Bowl 20, 85 Bears. They beat the Patriots. I believe that was like the one time they actually were halfway decent. So it's another loss for the Patriots. And everybody remembers Super Bowl Shuffle and, you know, Refrigerator Perry and Jim McMahon back then. And
that's another one we're working on, Jim McMahon.
Oh, that'd be great.
But nothing.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned on that. I'm working on that. We don't know if we're going to have that or not.
Super cool guy back in the day. He's probably still cool today, I imagine.
He golfs barefooted. How can you not be cool if you don't golf? Or if you golf barefoot, you got to be cool.
Right. For me, my fourth one is the Broncos over the Packers in Super Bowl 32. Elway, Favre, just that matchup there.
I remember that one.
You know, I mean, that's up there with, you know, Manning, Brady, if they were ever to go into a Super Bowl. I mean, those were the two guys then, so that was intense.
Growing up in Awanas, which was like a little Wednesday night youth group church thing for kids or whatever, me and my buddy would do what was it? Shannon Sharp and Terrell Davis, the salute, man. That thing was
salute,
just such a man. It was something that just stood out to me from the league, man. Terrell Davis was always one of those guys. Like if I was making a Madden team or something, I'm getting Terrell Davis on my team. And then going back to your Super Bowl, is it not crazy that the Patriots lead in both categories? They're tied for most Super Bowls lost, and they have the most Super Bowls won.
Right.
That's insane. Number 3 for me is Super Bowl 43, where I was the senior in high school myself here, so I was at a pretty big party. But the Steelers over the Cardinals, getting the win there, 27. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've
James
seen
Harrison
people put
in
up
that one.
I've seen people put up the debate though of that wasn't a catch. What do you guys think on that? I thought it was a catch. It was absolutely a catch. It was a beautiful catch. Oh, what's your third Super Bowl, man, Rick?
Mine, I believe, was Super Bowl 39. That was the one back in 04-05. Eagles losing to the Patriots. You know, first time the Eagles had gotten there since I was like 3 years old back in 1980. Don't even remember that. Too small to remember. So that was my first experience, and then that's when I started my hate for Tom Brady.
The truth comes out.
I mean,
you blame it on the cheat, and we know what it is.
Spygate was all during that same time, and I believe that we might have been affected by that, so I'm always going to hold that grudge.
Never know where those VHS tapes lie.
Now they destroyed them, so I mean, they were so damning they got rid of them.
For me, it was the third one is the Rams over the Titans in Super Bowl 34. I was in college then, and I remember watching it at a friend's party, and greatest show on turf, and then like you said, you've got this up and coming team that has just moved from Houston, not too long before that, and
2 years.
Yes, I would say 2 years, and here they are coming out of nowhere, and just what a game that was. So that would be my third one.
Number 2 for me is probably going to be number 1 for Caveman Rick, and that's going to be the Eagles over the Patriots in Super Bowl 52.
The throwback pass.
Yeah, well, both teams made a pass in that game. I don't know if the one to Tom Brady was completed or not.
No, Tom Brady did not catch that ball.
Right, it was off of his fingertips, right?
It was just off
right,
his hands.
And then they did, in like the Philly special, Trey Burton and Nick Foles, it was like, oh, so not only do you beat them, but you used the play that they used and did it better in Nick Foles.
Well, we didn't use that play. Our play was different.
It's a little bit different, but when it comes to the concept of because it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a tight end throwing to Tom Brady.
We executed better.
Or Edelman, because you always got to watch out for Edelman.
I think it was Edelman because he was the quarterback at Akron, I think it was, something like that. It was a MAC school.
Yeah.
All right, so
number
next,
2.
Yeah, number 2 for me. Like I said, don't remember Super Bowl. It was in 1980. I want to say, I don't remember which one it was, like 19, I guess, or something like that. But yeah, Eagles leading to the Raiders. John Madden, beating us. Dick Vermeil, I'm sure he cried himself to sleep for a week. That's just the Dick Vermeil way. We talked about him earlier, getting into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations. I'm sure his induction speech is going to go the same way. There'll probably be at least 10 minutes of crying.
For me, it's the Bucks over the Raiders. My brother's a big Bucks fan, and I remember watching that with him at a bar restaurant type place, and that was it was a lot of fun because that defense was outstanding. And I thought it was interesting because that was right after the Raiders had traded John Gruden to the Bucks.
Yeah,
and so the Bucks knew exactly what the Raiders were going to do because it was still John Gruden's playbook that they were utilizing. So I thought that was really interesting.
Rich Gannon and Big Bad Brad. Number 1 for me is going to be, I think this will always be the most memorable Super Bowl just because of the things that happen. And a lot of people remember the David Tyree catch, but me and Caveman Rick the other day were talking about, man, just the move that Eli Manning, who's not elusive at all, but to be able to get out of the defense's sack attempt there and to paddle back even further and then work his way up and throw it to David Tyree, and for him to even make that catch, and there still had to be another catch on top of that made. Very impressive. So I'll go with Super Bowl 42, where the Giants beat the undefeated Patriots 17-14.
Yeah, obviously for me, Super Bowl 52. I mean, yeah, we won the Super Bowl. Nick Foles, didn't really matter who was quarterbacking. We beat Tom Brady. Just an outstanding game, most yards ever in the Super Bowl. If anybody watched it, it was kind of back and forth there. We were leading for a while, but then they caught back up. Zach Ertz made an incredible touchdown catch that, was reviewed for a little while. Some controversy, I guess, maybe depending on how you're looking at it, but I see it as a catch, along with a lot of other people. Great memories watching that game with some great friends. Vinny, Joey Martinez out there, love you guys. I even got a parking cone that I lifted out of the parking lot of, I believe it was Diego's that day where we watched it out on the beach. Still have it. Survived Hurricane Michael, so there's a reason. Along with this T-shirt that I'm wearing on right now, it looks kind of raggedy. If you can see it on Facebook right now or Blab TV, it's not what I normally wear, but like I said, it's a survivor, just like my team.
All right. For me, it was the Brady comeback over the Falcons. Sorry, old school. Super Bowl 51.
It's okay. He's not a Falcon fan.
How did I not even have that one on here?
Right. But for me, because just that comeback alone was incredible in the second half there. But I'm hoping to be able to replace that number 1 here in a couple days.
Yeah, so, no doubt. You will.
Oh, absolutely.
But could it land on your top 5 even in the event of a loss?
Depends on how we lose. Yeah. I mean, it definitely could.
Let's say it's 22-21. Rams are up. 3 seconds left on the clock. Money Mac lines up for a 52-yard for a 52-yard field goal, and it doinks.
Double doinks and still misses like the Bears.
Well, I mean, you look at
it.
Well, I mean,
Cody.
To quote Gordon Bombay, if it had gone 3 inches this way, you would have made it. But if it had gone 3 inches the other way, you would have missed completely. So, I'd be okay with that. I mean, because, Money Mac, I don't think he misses that one, honestly. But
Right.
But at the same time, if it
52,
happens
he's
and
probably-
that's the way we lose, then so be it.
If he lines up for a 52, he's
going
probably
to
over there
walk
telling
out and
Zach
say,
Taylor,
we're winning the Super Bowl.
Not only that, he's going to go up to Zach Taylor before, say he takes the time out or whatever, and he's going to be like, I wear a size 7 1/4 or whatever it may be. All right, we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we'll get into some more prop bets, this time pertaining to the actual game, followed by some X Factors, our picks for the Super Bowl, and we had some great action in our local area for high school athletics.
Weather forecast overnight, scattered clouds, 45 to 50 for the low, light south winds. A blend of sun and clouds in the mid-60s Saturday. It'll be breezy. There's a weather front coming in Saturday night with a few showers possible, mostly cloudy in the mid-40s. And it'll be breezy in the mid-50s, cooler Sunday, partly to mostly sunny skies expected. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Alford Tire and Service Center in Callaway. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Mike Greenberg. This is Greeny.
I said it at the time, Kyler Murray needs to go thank Russell Wilson for being the first pick in the draft. Wilson was drafted in the 3rd round based on height. Mel Kiper once said to me that if Russell Wilson had done everything he did in college, but was built like Andrew Luck, he would have been the first pick in the draft. I mean, that was the year that Luck went 1 and RG3 went 2.
Weekday afternoons from 2 till 4. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Impact Promotions and Wicked Wheel presents Beat Down at the Beach 23, featuring a stacked-up lineup of MMA boxing and kickboxing matches. Impact Promotions brings the hard-hitting action to Edgewater Beach Resort, February 12th. Reserve your VIP table today. Call 850-691-9650. Don't miss the exciting fist-flying, high-kicking, no-holds-barred action as Warriors give it their all. Call 850-691-9650 for tickets. Sponsored by Parkway Tire and Flooring Solutions.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs, with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5, and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food, on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Are you looking for a transmission man you can count on to do the job right? Then turn to Marlon Ducker at Mr. Transmission. They've been on the corner of 15th Street and Harrison Avenue for the past 33 years. Whether you're driving a car, truck, van, or sport utility, they'll find the problem using their state-of-the-art electronic diagnostics equipment and years of experience. That's Mr. Transmission on the corner of 15th and Harrison, or just a phone call away at 769-4477.
Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
Danger's my middle name.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs, inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Ohio State and Michigan tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. We'll get you to the coverage, and the tip will be at 5 p.m. Don't forget about taxes being done free by United Way. That's at the Glenwood Community Center, Tuesdays through Thursdays from 9 to 3 p.m. January 25th is when they started. They'll stop April 14th. You need to have your driver's license or photo ID, checkbook for direct deposit of any refund, your social security card, W-2 from each employer, no pay stubs, documentation of all other income, and a 1095-A if you received health care coverage through the marketplace. And you need to make less than $63,000 in 2021. Looking at some Super Bowl prop bets brought to you by Covers.com. Length of the national anthem. Will it be over or under 95.5 seconds? And this guy's name keeps...
Mickey Guyton?
Yeah, Mickey Guyton. Oh, no, that's not a guy.
No.
That's a girl.
Yeah.
So Mickey Guyton. Does she sing slow or does she sing fast?
I believe she's country, so I'm going to say she's probably going to sing faster than... I don't think there'll be as much embellishment.
Okay, that's a good point.
I'm going to go with the under because I went with the over last year and got it wrong. So I'm going to go with the under this year and hopefully get it right.
Yeah, I'm going to use Boston Tim's methodology here. Basically, when you pick the under, you're always right until it goes over.
Exactly right. Yep.
I'll go with the under. Will the coin toss be heads or tails?
Tails has been failing, so give me heads.
Tails never fails. Ask Joe Burrow. I'm going with tails, though, just for the sake of this.
I'm going with that. I'm going heads.
All right. The first offensive play will be a run or a pass.
I guess it depends on who gets the ball first. I'm going to say Cincinnati does, so I think it'll be a run.
I think either team that gets the ball first is going to be a run. Which team will...
That's where I'm at, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget about Adam over here. Slow down.
I'm just running the board. That's all I'm doing.
Which team will score first, AG? Who do you want to? Like, selfishly, who do you want to score
Bengals.
first? Yeah, no doubt.
I think Bengals. I think we'll talk about it later, but I think they should get the ball first if they have the opportunity.
Just to calm my nerves as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Rams to score first. I'm curious about that because they scored first in the Titans game, didn't they? Because they were up.
They were up 6-0.
Yeah. And then I can't remember, but I'm looking specifically at the AFC Championship where they were down so much. I wonder if they play more comfortable sometimes being down.
Well, I mean,
maybe it's
they've
just
been
against
down.
the Chiefs that they play
They were
better
down
when they're
in quite a few games in the season, and they came back. And there was a couple of them that fell short, Packers and Chargers. But yeah, I mean, they're not uncomfortable playing from behind.
That's good, though, right? You want a team like that in the playoffs.
But please, let's make it 28-3 Bengals at half this time. Huh? How about that?
And, that would be such a heartbreak. Would you pull an old school if the Rams came back and won and y'all won 28-3?
No.
You've been riding with them too long.
Can't do that.
No doubt. The first turnover of the game will be a fumble, an interception, or a turnover on downs. I'll start with this one. I think the easiest one to take is interception, right? I'll go with fumble, though.
All right, fair enough. I'm going interception. Like you said, it's probably the easiest one, but I think there's going to be a decent amount of passing, so give me the interception.
I think it's going to be turnover on downs.
Ooh, somebody's going to go for it early on fourth?
Midfield.
I thought about going with, it's not on here, but no turnover, perfect game by the quarterbacks with no picks. No fumbling.
That doesn't bode well for the Bengals.
And doesn't turn.
I don't like that.
No turnovers on downs like late in the game when somebody's trying to go for it on fourth down to try to win or something. But
Stafford's going to throw a pick, man.
At least one.
At least one interception. The only thing he can hope for is that it's not a pick six. Which team will commit the first accepted penalty of the game?
This one's tough because neither team gets penalized very much. Like they're two of the top three teams.
I'm going to say Rams. I think the defense is going to try to get after it. So there's either going to be flagged for like offsides or, like a late hit or, something to that effect. But I think it's going to be the Rams.
I think it's going to be the Rams on a pass interference.
I'm going to go Bengals get the ball first, block in the back, moving back 10. First penalty on the first play of the game.
Just get it out of the way.
Which team will get to 10 points first? Will it be the Rams, the Bengals, or neither?
I don't think it's going to be neither. I think it'll be more than, we'll say 20 points scored in the game, obviously. So give me the Bengals.
Give me the Bengals as well.
I'll go Bengals too. I'll say the Rams score first, and that could be 3 or 7, and then the next 10 consecutive points will go to the Bengals to hopefully ensure that we get a good Super Bowl here. Will either team score during the last 2 minutes of the first half? Last 2 minutes of the first half.
I say yes. You pretty much always see a team scoring in like the last 2 minutes trying to get those last
Unless you're the Kansas City Chiefs.
So give me,
no, Burrow in the 2-minute warning. If he's got the ball in his hands, he's great. So yeah, give me a yes on that one.
I will echo that absolutely yes. Which song will be performed first at the halftime show? Still Dre, the next episode, California Love, or Family Affair, or other.
If I got to pick one of the four, because I don't know what the other might be, I'll say California Love because it's in L.A., the Rams' home stadium, so it kind of fits.
I think it's going to be other. I think it's going to be Not Afraid by Eminem.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. I'm going to go with the next episode. It's kind of got a nice beat to kind of lead up into something that's a little bit more rhythmic. Will all 5 performers team up for a song? This one's tough, but you absolutely have to do it, and I think that they're going to end it off with California Love, and that'll be...
That's where I'm at.
You kind of have to when you got that many people up there. They'll probably do something special, so yeah.
All right. How many songs will be played during the halftime show? Over or under 9.5? So essentially, does each guy get 2 songs? Each guy and gal.
I was thinking it was going to be 10 total, and this was long before I even seen this, so I'm going to go with the over and still stick with 10.
Yeah, because there's so many hits between all 5 of them. So, they're going to do 30 seconds of this song, a minute of this song. So I give me the over.
Dadgummit. Why didn't I use a pencil instead of a pen? I've got the under anyways. I'll just ride with it. I'm not going to pencil whip it. Let's go under 9.5. Total numbers of players to attempt a pass.
That's easy.
This is fun.
Over
or under 2.5?
Over. There's going to be some trickeration. Somebody's going to try something, and so that's going to be more than the 2 quarterbacks, so I'm going to go over.
Right, so you're looking at probably OBJ because the Bengals haven't really run anything like that this
And that's
year,
why they might surprise the hell out of the Rams.
And they could, but I'm going to go under on that one.
All right. Who will have more passing yards? I'm going over on I think OBJ will at least get one in. Who will have more passing yards? Matt Stafford, Joe Burrow, or other, which could happen if one of them gets injured.
I hope not for either one.
Yeah, no, I don't want. I literally do not want to see that. Who has more passing yards? Caveman, Stafford, Burrow, other.
I'm going to say Stafford. I think Joe Burrow, even though he can chuck it, Cincinnati's going to try to run and probably run more than the Bengals. So Matt Stafford's going to have to throw it more yards for him.
I think it's going to be Stafford as well because he's going to have to.
I think it's going to be Stafford as well. Who's going to have more rushing yards? Will it be Cam Akers, Joe Mixon, or others?
Give me Joe Mixon on this one because you got Darrell Henderson coming back as well, and McVay's already said that he's going to run all 3 of them. So unless one of them breaks something, for a large chunk, I think Joe Mixon's going to take that one.
Give me Mixon too. Akers, if he even drops the ball once, they might not even go back to him. So
true.
Give me Mixon.
Yeah, strictly rushing yards, Joe Mixon, for really the reason that Adam brought up. And when he was telling me about it earlier, I'm just thinking, like, how in one game, I get if you're in the middle of a season or whatever, but how do you pick in one game, the biggest game of your season, who's got the hot hand without giving them multiple carries? And you're not going to be running the ball the whole time. So that's going to be tough for McVay to figure out. Maybe he's utilizing practice leading up to the game, and then what happens when, hey, I'll give each of you guys 3 carries. Whoever looks the most, we're not worried about the statistics. Whoever looks like they're the hungriest is going to have the hottest hand.
I just hope he overthinks it.
Yeah. And that could cause a multitude of problems if a head coach is overthinking things. Who's going to have the most receiving yards? Caveman, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, other?
I'm going to go with the other. And then I know we said Matt Stafford's probably going to throw it more, but I'm going to go with somebody on the Bengals, and I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd.
Nice. Hey, and the good thing here is we just got to put other, you know what I mean?
I'd love to see it.
Where you going?
Give me Cooper Kupp in this one. The Bengals are going to have a hard time keeping up with him just like everybody else in the league. I do like our secondary, but, I think Cooper Kupp is probably going to have the most probably targets as well as most yards.
I definitely think he's going to have the most targets. I'm going to go with other, and it might even be, this is crazy to say, you could see Van Jefferson, but I'm almost leaning towards that tight end and Kendall Blanton.
Yeah.
There's just something about the connection.
I had him in fantasy earlier because I had Higbee, and to be honest, he didn't do a whole lot for me during the 5 or 6 weeks I think I had him, so I don't have that much confidence in him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's go. What color will the liquid poured on the winning head coach be? Will it be lime, green, yellow, clear, or water, red or pink, blue, orange, or purple? I wish I could remember what it was last year. I want to say that it was... I want to say it was orange last year.
When I think of Gatorade, I think of like lime, green, and yellow. I just do.
I'm going orange.
I'm going my favorite color. Every year I do it. Blue. And it's probably going to be red or pink, right? But, hey, who knows? Orange would be great for the Bengals and blue would be great for the Rams, but they never really line it up to work out like that. Will either team score during the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter? Are we going with the same way that we did in the second or in the first half? I'm going to say yes.
I am. I'm definitely thinking that. Yes.
I say no. I say the Bengals right out the clock.
Ooh, there we go. We'll skip over this next one. You can go ahead and mark it. We all know who we want, though. Will the combined total points for the game be over or under 48.5?
Over.
Over?
I'm going over.
I'm going under. Wait, hold on. I'm going over. I just added a team a couple more points, and it put them right there.
Okay.
Right there at the over. The MVP winner will be Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, or any other player. I'm going with Stafford, man. I think he's going to be the first quarterback to win the MVP and lose the game.
I'm going Joe Burrow.
Give me Jamar.
Oh, I like that, man. How dope would that be for a wide receiver to come away with the MVP in a quarterback-driven league? You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. We're a sports-driven radio show, and we're going to take a short time out. When we get back, we're going to go over some X Factors, give you our score for the game, as well as our picks.
.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Super Bowl 56.
The fairy tale continues for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Sunday, February 13th, we'll bring you the game live with a rich audio experience that puts you right in the stands.
Looks for the home run ball downfield. Knocked away and intercepted.
Go home for Super Bowl 56. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
Hi, I'm Bobby Lights with today's Car Clinic Minute. Politicians have polls and teachers have tests, both designed to diagnose. What do you have at your fingertips, actually closer to your toes, to help assess the condition of your car? When I come back, I'll tell you.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
True, they put the skid in skid marks, but tires have another role too, as an informant on the condition of your car. Here's how to read their clues. Form a puddle on dry concrete. With tires inflated to recommended pressure, slowly drive through the water and continue for 100 feet. And there's the evidence. If tracks are denser in the middle, over inflation. On the sides, under. If the pattern shows scallops, suspension needs service. Bald spots, defective tire, or unbalanced wheel. Mystery solved. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
He's got a wife, a family, a dog, and many other responsibilities. But for 2 hours a day, he shreds that baggage for what he really loves, sports. Boston Tim is part of the Afternoon Underdogs from the Rib Crib Radio Room, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're in the Rib Crib Radio Room listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. The Coach James Hale Show will be live at you Monday morning at 7 a.m., giving you the latest and the greatest from the Southeastern Conference. And I'm sure that they'll be talking about the Super Bowl. He should have Dr. Chad Mitchell with him in this Monday. And don't forget, y'all, the Bay High Tornadoes in North Bay Haven tonight at 7 p.m. for a playoff game. That's going to be a great battle. Let's get into our X factors for the games. Let's start with you, Adam. Who's your X factor for the Rams? We can go offensive and defensive.
All right, we want to do one of each?
Yeah.
Okay. Offensively, I think it's going to have to be OBJ for what he's going to be able to bring outside of Cooper Kupp. He's going to have to be open and making some big catches. You want to do defense, or are we just doing offensive and run around?
We'll go offensive
Okay.
and run around.
Cool.
All right, so offense for the Rams for me, I'll go Matt Stafford. He just has to have a clean game, no picks, make the throws that he needs to make. Show us that, it was all Detroit and it was the Lions and it wasn't, just him.
I almost want to say the offensive line, because if they are going to be running a running back by committee, Andrew Whitworth and the gang have to be on their toes, because you're talking about 3 different running backs that you're creating holes for, who have kind of, even though you block with the same scheme, there's different expectations and different chemistry for those running backs.
Different styles.
Different styles, different speeds to hit the holes, and different just mannerisms when they're going through those holes as well.
And how about Witt winning Walter Payton Man of the Year?
I was about to
Good
lead
for
it with
him.
that, man. He
Great
deserved
speech,
it.
too. Great speech.
Well, I didn't get to see the speech, so.
It was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It was really, really great.
Was
If you
it?
haven't heard it, check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah, he was.
Was it as good as Derrick Henry's suit was?
I just want to know how many snakes had to die for that suit. Did y'all see that snake suit he had on?
Adam
Good
showed that
Lord.
to me when he got in.
You're looking at a monster of a man, and he's got on a genuine snake suit, and you're like, holy cow.
I was going to watch the NFL Honors, but Shaun White was snowboarding for
Yeah.
the last time, and I was like, man, I'm going to kick myself in the future if I don't watch that.
Maybe they
last
were
one.
like from down south, evasive species like those Burmese pythons, and like they went to a good cause, got rid of something that's evasive down there, and turned it into a suit. Yeah.
Could be.
If he did that, hey, good for him then.
Defensive X factor for the Rams. I'll go Ashawn Robinson. Kyle Ehrenreich brought that up on the show yesterday, and it's true though, because you've got the guys on the outside who do so much, but if especially if the run game gets going for Joe Mixon, the interior becomes that much more important. So Ashawn Robinson could definitely be an X factor for the Rams defense.
Von Miller.
Yeah.
Not only just rushing, but able to drop back and cover some of those over the middle routes that Uzama likes to run, as well as Tyler Boyd in the middle. So
Uzama.
I'll go Ramsey. I mean, secondary, got to stop Jamar Chase, slow him down. They have, Higgins. They got Boyd. They got, a trio of good wide receivers. So the secondary's really got to step up and try to slow those guys down, specifically Ramsey.
What has your boy Uzama got on the line?
So he has said that if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, he will jump in a bathtub full of Skyline chili.
Is that with noodles or without?
I think it's just the chili.
Just the chili.
I think
Okay,
it's
that's a little
just
better
the chili.
because y'all know how it is sometimes.
Well, he says he's wearing swimming trunks, so it's not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have to
kid-friendly.
retrieve anything.
Right, no.
Well, yeah, but it's not like you're going to be able to see anything in a bucket or in a tub of chili.
Right.
So.
Good G-Man.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, G-Man looks like he's calling in. So we'll wait a couple of seconds here and get Greg on the line with us. Cincinnati defensive X factor for you, Caveman Rick.
Defensive X factor is probably just going to have to be just the defensive line as a whole. Being able to, stop the run, attempts that, obviously the Rams are going to have. They have that 3-headed running attack we talked about. And then the ability to put pressure on Matt Stafford, because we've seen that his, frequency of throwing picks, and like when he's running around back there, sometimes he'll just make the bonehead play. So if they can get to him, they should stand a real chance of winning.
I think I'm going to go with one of my key non-quarterback players that we were talking about yesterday again, and Trey Hendrickson is not injured at all, so that even makes it more so for Sam Hubbard to kind of let Trey take as many offensive linemen or tight ends as he can, and then Sam be strong on the other end and be attack the blind side of Matt Stafford.
For me, on the defensive side for Cincinnati is DJ Reader.
Yeah.
He's very unheralded. He's putting in work day in and day out. And, he's taking on, sometimes 2 and 3 offensive linemen, and he's opening up those lanes for Hendrickson and for Hubbard. So for me, DJ Ritter's going to play a big role, especially in the run game.
And in the trenches in the Super Bowl.
Huge.
Huge. Absolutely. Let's get over to the phone line. We've got G-Man Greg Calvert, Grimace on the line with us. What's going on, bro?
Hey, man, let's talking football. You talking my love language, man.
Do they play football in Indiana?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. I thought when Manning left that you just stopped.
Hey, man, Rams 34, Bengals 22.
All right, I'm hanging up on you.
I've been right on. I've been right on with the Rams since the playoffs started, man. And as much as I'd like to see the Bengals win it, they don't have enough to hang with the Rams. I'm sorry, man. The Rams front seven is going to get after that offense, and he's going to be baffled. Burrow's going to be baffled.
So is that your X factor for the Rams then, the front seven of the Rams?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, honestly, man, I don't see Cincinnati having the horses to hang with them. Not the way they've been playing.
Got any problems with the NFL awards from last night?
Yeah, the defensive player of the year, I wasn't 100% agreeable on that, but
why is that?
Darius Leonard wasn't up for
I
it.
can't remember who it was now.
T.J. Watt.
T.J. Watt. Yeah, who would you have picked instead?
Who do you think?
Darius
Take
Leonard.
a wild guess. You're right. You got that right.
Yeah,
he wasn't up for it.
But T.J. Watt was,
He had the sack
playoff.
record.
Probably the difference. What?
He had the sack record, basically, T.J. Watt did.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kind of biased, if you guys never noticed.
A little bit.
Never noticed that. Hey, Greg, we're going to go ahead and get off and continue on with our X Factors, but before you go, give me an offensive X Factor for the Bengals.
Offensive X Factor, I think it's going to be Tyler Boyd.
That's a good one. Hey, thanks so much for the call, Greg. We'll holler at you later, buddy.
See you guys later. Enjoy the game.
Yes,
Word,
sir.
we will.
You do the same. Offensive X Factor for the Bengals.
Offensive, that's kind of tough, to be honest with you.
It is tough.
I picked Boyd earlier. I think he's going to, get the yards, so why not? Tyler Boyd. He's, not the guy you're probably going to expect, but he should do pretty good, I think.
Uzama.
Is he good to go?
Taylor came out today and said he is slated to play.
Okay. I think if you're questionable, you're going.
Pending, some kind of setback, he is slated to play. But, he's that relief valve, that comfort blanket for Burrow, because, he's going to have to get the ball out quick. Uzama running quick routes over the middle, short stops. I think he's going to play a huge role.
You kind of hit me on the spot on there. This is a better one, more something I was going to say later. But basically, I think they're going to have to get off to a good start. That's really their offensive X factor. Bengals, I think, are good front runners. If they got the lead early, the Rams, they're not so great if they're playing from behind. So if the Bengals can get ahead, maybe by a couple possessions early in the game, I think that'll help them out a lot, give them a lot more confidence. It'll force Sean McVay into doing some different stuff in his play calling, and that can cause some problems.
Well, I did see a stat that the Rams are 1-7 when giving up over 27 points this year, and the Bengals are 7-1 when scoring more than 27 points.
Well, that would lead to what I was just talking about a little bit.
So.
Yeah, awesome.
Offensive X factor for me, I was actually going to go with Uzama.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like, I'm not going with no Barner. Are you kidding me? No, I'm just kidding. I think I'll go with Money Mac, man.
There you go.
I think that it's really going to come. If the Bengals win, it's coming down to his leg, as it has every week in the playoffs just about. Yeah, why not, man? Because you got to be a stud to do what he's doing this year, and he's fun to watch. Him and Joe Burrow, the combination of the two, and just how kind of cool they are.
The confidence both of them have, I mean, you don't see that a lot. I mean, you're supposed to be pretty confident,
especially from young bucks,
as an athlete like that. But I mean, these guys, it's overwhelming.
I mean, look at Roberto Aguayo, right, and how great of a kicker he was at Florida State. Gets to the league with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and just kind of fizzled
Under
out.
pressure.
Or look at a guy like Janikowski. He gets drafted, really early too. It was kind of a surprise when the Raiders took him, but he ended up being a longevity kicker, playing 18 years in the league, lots of points. Had that a cannon for a leg. So
he was so much.
If you could find the right guy, in the draft, it definitely pays to draft somebody.
You don't find a Justin Tucker every now and again, and I think the Bengals possibly could.
You get a lot of points out of kickers. People don't realize how important they are to games.
Adam just said something, though. You don't find a Justin Tucker rarely ever. It's like finding one of those crazy Pokemon cards that everybody has heralded over.
It's like a Morton or Gary Anderson or somebody like that from back in the day.
Right, exactly. So when you get one of those guys, you got to lock them up, or you got to jump earlier into the draft and draft them. And he was on no one else's radar as far as early as when the Bengals went and got him. And
I'm sure he was on
paid off
radars,
dividends.
but nobody has
But
the
not in the
stones.
fifth round.
In the fifth
Nobody's
round.
got the stones to go out and grab
That's what
somebody
I'm
early,
saying.
like we're saying.
So you
Yeah,
got to give so much kudos to the front office of the Bengals and just how they've drafted in the last couple of years, proving all of the naysayers wrong. I know we say it all the time since we've been proven wrong, but you got to say it one more time. Quick, one more break. And we'll be right back. We'll be talking about the high school spotlight and anything else that comes to our mind around the Super Bowl. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. We'll be right back.
Weather forecast overnight, scattered clouds, 45 to 50 for the low, light south winds. A blend of sun and clouds in the mid-60s Saturday. It'll be breezy. There's a weather front coming in Saturday night with a few showers possible, mostly cloudy in the mid-40s. And it'll be breezy in the mid-50s, cooler Sunday, partly to mostly sunny skies expected. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for college basketball.
Ball game. Auburn wins it.
This Saturday, it's a college basketball doubleheader. First, Texas A&M visits Auburn inside the jungle.
Oh my goodness, what a finish.
Coverage starts at 2. Then, it's Ohio State at Michigan. College basketball lives here. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Signworks, a business serving businesses since 1985. Everything from signs and banners, vehicles and boats, magnetic and real estate signs, contractor signs, and much more. Signworks can do large format, full color printing too. Signworks, a real professional in the business world. Call Signworks at 785-8899. Signworks, 850-785-8899.
Hi, this is Matt Lewis with Reliable Hydraulic Solutions. We offer comprehensive diagnostics and repair service for all types of hydraulic units, such as hydraulic and pneumatic cylinders, hydraulic pumps, motors, and valves, as well as a broad range of hydraulic hoses and O-rings. Give us a call at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions at 850-326-3000 for any of your hydraulic needs. Or come see us on Commercial Drive off Jinx Avenue in Panama City.
Dr. Chad Mitchell, orthopedic surgeon specializing in sports medicine and joint replacement of the knee, shoulder, and hip. He serves our local athletes and our community. Southern Orthopedic Specialist has been the leader in orthopedic care for over 20 years. New patients are welcome. Call 850-769-KNEE to schedule an appointment. More about Dr. Mitchell and Southern Orthopedic Specialist is available on their website, southernorthopedic.com. Southern Orthopedic, getting you back in the game.
When the sun sets on the Emerald Coast, the freaks come out and play. David Hayes. Old school.
Very exciting.
And Boston Tim.
Good information.
Live and local inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with AG Adam Goff and cameraman Caveman Rick. High school spotlight, real quick, like 1A regional semifinals from last night. Ponce de Leon over Holmes County, 58-44. Poplar Springs goes down to Paxton, 52-44. Shellacking here, PSJ over Bozeman, 55-24, and Chipley over Alpha.
Double shellacking.
55-point deficit, 66-11. AG, you want to take that first score, and then Caveman Rick take that second score?
Yeah, in the 4A regional quarterfinals, we had South Walton 54 and Paxton 47.
Yeah, in the other game, we had Bowles taking on Rutherford. Rutherford wins by just a hair, 60-58.
And that was a great game. So now the Rams are looking at a season of 23-3 and moving on to, I guess, what I would imagine would be the semifinals. Mm-hmm. If you play in the quarters, you got to go to the semis. Tonight, Arnold's taking on Choctaw, and that will be at the house, 7 p.m. in their gym. And girls varsity soccer is at Gulf Breeze. They will go at 8 p.m. And then tonight, Bay Haven and North Bay Haven going on at 7 p.m. at the Cobb Gym. Bay High, can't wait for it. Y'all need to get out there and support your local athletes. That's going to be a fantastic game. North Bay Haven has been balling all year. Coach Rusty Cook and the Tornadoes, fantastic season that they've had. Now back to the Super Bowl. Your pick and your score. Well, yours is self-explanatory, so who you got?
You want me first?
Yeah, you go first at this one.
I got Bengals 31-24. So they're going to get over that under, or go over on the over-under. And I think it's going to be the Rams kicking a field goal not before 2 minutes and then not getting the ball back. And that's why I think the Bengals are going to just go into victory formation and win 31-24.
For me, this is when I can sit back in an armchair and just whichever way that the game goes, I'll be satisfied either way. I think you get a great storyline from Burrow winning. You get a great storyline from Stafford winning. However, I think that the offensive line, like Sarah Spain said, her most intriguing storyline is that defensive line of the front seven rather of the Los Angeles Rams going up against the offensive line for the Bengals. I'm going to take the Rams 27-23. 27-23. So I'm expecting a good ball game. I really am.
Well, the Rams have been there recently a couple years ago, and they had a bad showing, and they lost, and they're back again. Cincinnati haven't been there in 33 years. It's been a really long time. You know, the franchise has been kind of like forgotten about, if you will, by a lot of people. So I'm rooting for the Bengals. My final score I have now, whether or not it goes to overtime or not, I don't know. For me, I'd like it to go to overtime. I'm sure
Please
Adam
no.
probably don't, because it just
heart attack,
a lot of agony. But then, hey, if you win too, it just free football is that much better. But I'm picking the Bengals. I'm going to pick a orange and black team. That's my colors, my gang colors. I like to bleed, and my score is going to be 34-31. And I'm basing this off of The Simpsons having a score of the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Rams 34-31. And hey. Big ups to Matt Groening out there. He's got a lot of other stuff in pop culture right throughout the years. I guess anything's possible when you put out that much content, for that long, with that many storylines and whatnot. So that's what I'm going with.
Dope! 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is presenting Wrestling Against Cancer. All proceeds benefit Mosley High School student Kendall Susie. This is going to be April 30th at the Bay County Fairgrounds. Tickets are $12. $10 or 6 to 10 is $10, and 5 and under are free. Doors open 5:30, bell time 6:30. We'll be bringing this up and then hammering it down once we get to about March, and that's going to be a great event. You've been to a Wrestling Against Cancer event. Oh, yeah. I've been. It's some great stuff in Jack Patterson. Y'all keep him in your thoughts and prayers as he's dealing with some issues as well, but he does a great job putting on for cancer patients and
always
survivors.
wanting to help out other people. He needs a little help right now too, so everybody, like I said, give him some thoughts and some prayers, and I hope everything's going well with him, and this should be a good show.
Couple of pieces from the Olympics last night. Women's hockey beats Czech Republic in the quarterfinals last night, 4-1. I watched this whole game last night. It was definitely closer than what that score alludes to. There was 2 empty netters there at the end of the game. Very close game. Czech played their goalie last night. Wow, they played their tail off last night. USA will be taking on the winner of Finland and Japan. I believe that game will be either Sunday or Monday. And then tonight, men's hockey taking on Canada at 10:10. You can watch that on the USA Network. And then Shaun White with his final run last night. I believe he fell in. No, he completed his first run. It wasn't great. Second run got an 84. And then his final run, he was trying to go big or go home, right? And then just kind of clipped the lip there on the half pipe. He ended up finishing in 4th. But man, just the emotions. Golly, Big Ben when he played his last football game and the emotions that was running through him. Tom Brady, we never really got that right because we didn't know it was his last. Well, Shaun White, the emotions were running at an all-time high for him last night.
That was the 5th time for him too, right?
Yeah,
in the
5th
Olympics.
time in the Olympics.
It's pretty impressive.
Well, it just seems like yesterday that he was, first getting into the Olympics, because everybody was like, Shaun White in the Olympics? Yep. What? Okay, let's do it.
And it paid off benefits for Team USA, no doubt. Ayuma Hirano got gold last night. Little kid from Japan, little man from Japan. His little brother was also in the same competition with him. These guys were getting like 20 feet of air, and more importantly, all right, so he landed the first triple cork in Olympic run history. Not only that, in his second run, they gave him a 91.575, and the commentator was like, "This is atrocious. He should have got at bare minimum a 98." Comes up, nails that same trick that had never been landed again, another triple cork, perfects the run, gets 96, and takes home gold. Very fun competition, and like I said, Michaela Schifrin as well, making it down. The Super G was absolutely exciting to watch.
Were these the events that were held in front of like the nuclear power stacks? Is that the one where? Because I saw a picture where it was like the Big Air was right there next to some nuclear power stacks.
Big Air, yes, and that's with skis and stuff. So they were on the other night, I believe, man, and they got to watch themselves with those skis because there's an edge on them, and if they fall or anything comes back and hits their other leg, they can severely cut a tendon.
Yeah.
They were showing how sharp they were. The All-Star game last night, Kevin Durant and LeBron were picking. It comes down to the last pick. Rudy Gobert, James Harden are on the board, and Kevin Durant goes
Agent Zero.
That's LeBron. Adam's playing the LeBron level over there, covering his face up with the clipboard. KD ends up picking Rudy Gobert over James Harden. Then LeBron is like, he's cracking up. He's like, wait, he hasn't.
Is he healthy?
Hasn't played. Is he healthy? And Charles Barkley's like, yeah, he's got extra strength icy hot now.
Yeah, he's on the Sixers now. He's healthy.
Golly. Oh man, that's absolutely insane.
It's gold.
So real quick, we've got less than a minute here, but what's your thoughts on that trade? Who won, and then give you the opportunity as well quickly.
I think the Sixers got fleeced. If it was straight up Harden for Simmons, I'm all for it on both sides.
Win, yeah.
But the 2 first-rounders for me was absolutely
That's where it breaks down for you. Who does it benefit more this year?
The Nets.
Yeah, definitely probably the Nets this year, but I didn't like the trade at all. It hurts the Sixers long term. Trusting the process through those years obviously didn't work. Look where they're at right now. It doesn't get you nowhere. Don't do it. Sixers again or anybody else.
That is crazy. Yeah, y'all was on that process for a long time. Better hope you get a ring out of it. We're out. We'll be back Monday at 4. Enjoy the Super Bowl. It'll be right here, 1 o'clock on our air. And then tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. coverage for the Auburn-Texas A&M game. 4:30 p.m. we'll get you to the coverage of Ohio State, Michigan. Have a great weekend.
Hooday.
For Valentine's Day this year, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida